Hi, this is Jason again. I'm going to show you how to create your own experiment from scratch in volunteer science. Now, we're not going to try to get very far today in terms of building advanced games. I just want to show you how to create new files, new experiment files, edit them, add material to them, save them, try to demo them to see how they work, what they look like, going back and editing the whole from scratch experience. So here are my research teams. I'm going to my test team, and I'm going to choose to add a new /clone experiment. I'm going to add a new one. So I'm going to use the blank template, which is just an empty thing. I'm not going to use any of the templates. I'm not going to use any of the existing studies. I'm going to go with blank. I'm going to call it scratch test. I'm going to click the add button. Now, this is a completely blank experiment. There are no files, no variables. Oh, they're all three variables. They're always variables. Priority, the instances, the participants. But there are no custom variables. There's no consent forms, nothing. So, when you want to create an experiment in volunteer science, all you need is the experiment files. These need to be files that a browser can interpret, essentially. So most of that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but theoretically you can also use Flash, PHP, what have you, certainly XML. So I'm going to, so you can upload files, you can write it on your local machine and then upload them by adding a new file here. We're going to add an empty file, so we can type here in volunteer science. I'm going to call it scratch HTML. We're going to add it. And that takes me to the text editor here. So I'm going to say, hello, oops, there we go. Hello world. All right, I've made my first edits here. I have an HTML page that just says hello world. I'm going to save it. Note there's no HTML objects at the top. There's no body headers. There's none of that. We can just say hello world. Volunteer Science handles that stuff for you. Everything that you create in an HTML file is already going to be placed within the body tag. So here's my Scratch file. If I wanted to add a new file from my local computer called Scratch, if I wanted to edit it locally, I can choose new file here, or I can, and then click the update button, or I can edit it here. But now I have a file that just says hello world. I'm going to demo it. Go to the demo tab. Participants 1, I'm going to launch. And it just should say hello world. Hello world. All right. So we have an experiment that just says hello world. Not much of an experiment. I'm going to quit. Quit. Cool. So now we go in. Hello world's not that great of an experiment. So I'm just going to, actually, let me add a second. Well, let's see. Hello world. I'm going to add another break. So this is all HTML. I'm going to say this is another line. Now I'm going to spend other instructional videos like showing you how to actually create real experiments. This is just to show you sort of step one, how you go about editing files and trying to build your own study. So that should have saved. Yeah, good. Here I can see the versions that I've created here at the very bottom. And I'm going to go back to demo. Launch. Cool. Hello world. Line break. This is another line. Cool. Now we can go in and we can add new files. We can create a new file for our JavaScript if we want to add JavaScript, or we can add a new file for CSS if we want to make it look attractive and responsive. Yeah, and here we can also sync with our GitHub, which I won't go into here, but that's another way to create experiments. So that's a very quick introduction to how you create an experiment from scratch in volunteer science.